Alright, we're back again here. It's been quite a while. Sorry it's been so long for anybody that's actually keeping track. After the last video I released, the next light I actually ended up playing around with was this UC35 here, V2 from Fenix. And it's pretty similar to the PD35 V2. So I'm not going to do a separate video for it. I'm just going to do a little comparison here. And I kind of like doing those better anyhow, but they're so similar that it would be easier just to go over the differences. It's kind of just a different take on a PD35. So got they're very close in size. It's just a touch longer. The buttons are pretty significantly different there. So this is recessed in there, and the button is a little bit smaller, and it's copper, so it kind of looks cool. And I think for people that are worried about accidentally switching modes, I think the UC35 would be better for those. The button is a little bit stiffer, quite a bit stiffer really, and it's smaller, and it's in the little recess there. So I think there's a lot less chance of accidentally hitting the switch there. And it does still have the power level mode there, and it works just the same as the recent batch from Fenix has been doing there. Neither one of them will tail stand. Both of them have the buttons that go out past the tail there. They both have very minor anti-roll on their own, although this does seem to be a little bit more aggressive than a PD35. And of course, if we get the pocket clip on there, these pocket clips are so big that'll actually help out quite a bit with the anti-roll. And a pocket clip is, you can remove it. It won't really go on any other direction, but it's fairly stiff. You can see it does move around a little bit, but it's fairly stiff, and I didn't have any trouble with it coming off of pants or like a work vest or something like that. So aside from those, a significant difference are this one comes with a battery, and the battery is rechargeable in the light. That's a micro USB there, so they seem to be staying with that. So in my own playing around with it and testing in that, I didn't have a problem with the port cover coming open. I can't promise you that after a year or 2 years of use that you won't start having a problem, but I didn't have any problem in the, I think total, because I put it down and then came back to it again before I decided to do the video on it, because it had been quite a while. So I think total was probably about 3 weeks or a month playing with this thing. You can see there is a little bit of wear on the pocket clip in that, so it did get some use. Tried not to drop it. I don't think, other than my own drop test, I don't think I had any problems with it. That might be worth noting there. PD35 too, as much as I like it, this is still my work light. Still got my little Subaru experiment there. That stuff's still holding on there. Way better than I thought it would. Even this part I thought that would be gone by now, but it's still hanging in there. But one thing that does happen is it happened in the drop test, and I'll link to my video for the PD35 down in the description there. One thing that did happen is the tail cap came just a tiny bit loose, and it was so much that when I went to tighten it, I couldn't even tell that it was tightening. But after I tried to tighten it, it just would work again. So I guess there was a tiny bit of looseness in there. I haven't had any problems with the switch not working or anything, so it's not a severe connection problem if that's what it is. But this one I have not had that issue with. It does seem a little tiny bit tighter, so possibly just a little tiny bit better made. Maybe they learned the lesson. I probably wasn't the only person with the 35 that had that issue. It wasn't bad enough for me to worry about saying for warranty. It's just every once in a while I gotta just touch the tail cap. Oh, there is a little bit of cosmetic right there. Tiny bit there. So, okay, so there's that. So we can see on the boxes here, the UC35 is a little bit more intense once you get past the 300 or the once you get past 150 lumens. The UC35 is a little bit more intense, but you can see on the low end there's a pretty significant operational difference there. The low end on the PD35 is 3 lumens, and on the UC35 it's 1 lumen. But after that, the light levels go up and they're the same, with after 150 lumens with the UC being a little bit more intense. And the numbers aren't huge difference, but if what you want is more distance, the UC would be a better choice in that regard. Because of that little extra intensity, say around 100 yards, the intensity is a little bit noticeable still. So if that's what you're after, that's something to take into consideration there. The run times, I can only guess, but I would guess because of the lower intensity, the PD35 does have better run times. It's not huge. It's not like 30 minutes to 2 hours difference, but the difference is there. So you can see the boxes are even the same size. I mean, it's just complete overlap. The markings and the print are the same. There is some difference there. But it's like they just rehashed everything and kind of just did a different version of their own product, which is probably smart on their end, because if they didn't do it, somebody else would. There's a lot of other companies out there that pretty much seem to live off of that. Oh, you're not going to do this? All right, we'll do it. So I do like this overall. For me, for what I do, I'm not worried about accidentally changing modes. I'm worried about easily changing modes. So it's not that this was difficult to do at all. I mean, the recess is there. Your pinky just kind of goes right into the recess. It's not hard. It's that this was just a lot easier for me. So for me, this one's better. But like I said, if you're worried about accidentally changing modes, the UC35 is a better option. Also, it does cost a little bit more right off, or it did when I bought it, but it comes with the battery and you can charge it in the light, so you don't need to buy a separate battery and charger. You know, obviously if you're doing a lot of heavy, high output or long periods of usage, you may want a second battery, and eventually the battery will give out. But starting out, it really doesn't cost more, even though that initial price is there, because you don't have to buy the separate battery and battery charger there. So I'm not going to do any outdoor stuff because it's so close to the PD35 that it's just kind of redundant. But because the low end is a little bit different there, I'll go ahead and do some stuff just right here, and you'll be able to see that the intensity at the different light levels is actually significantly different, and we'll take it from there. So the low modes are pretty significantly different. So we will start out with the old familiar PD35. So this is 3 lumens, and that's probably actually about right how it looks on the screen there. So you can see not very intense, just very low output. But here's the 1 lumen on the UC. So pretty significant difference there. And then moving up after that, the outputs are the same, but the intensity changes. So there's the PD35 on UC. So pretty close there. They're rated, the PD35 is actually rated a little bit higher there, but now on the left, the UC35, and then on the right, the PD35. So pretty close, if not the same. The UC does look a little bit more intense there. So we're getting brighter here. And you can see it's a little more concentrated, just a tiny bit. And to my naked eye, it does look a little better, a little brighter. The UC, the one on the left, does. And then here you really start seeing a pretty significant difference there. The UC is definitely a bit more intense. So, and then it's just back down to the low. Ooh. They both do have a strobe, but we don't need to go that route with this. Okay, so there we have it. Just a brief comparison. Just a review real quick. They're about the same size. Using them, the biggest difference is going to be this button. The UC is recessed and smaller. The UC is recessed, smaller, and much stiffer. PD35 bigger and a little bit easier. So if you're worried about accidental mode switching, this is not an on-off button, it's just mode. This is the one to go with in that regard. This one's a little bit easier, so for me I like that better. If you don't already have a 18650 battery and or a charger to use it in, this one's probably going to be easier because it's just, you buy it and you can just charge the battery that comes with it in the light and don't have to worry about buying extra stuff. If you like the size of these lights and the style, and the differences in style and usage don't really matter to you, but you want the more intense one, then the UC would be the one to go with. Overall, the price, because this starts out cheaper, but you have to buy the battery and a charger to use it with, the price ends up equaling out the last time I checked. So in that regard, I wouldn't worry about it. I guess if you wanted to, you could start out with the PD35 and just run it off of the CR123 batteries that you can get in sporting goods stores, gun stores, athletic stores, and that for flashlights, headlamps. REI actually has a lot of batteries too. So, all right, guys, there you go. I do have a couple more lights, and I'll be working on testing those out and getting some more videos out. Thanks.